Hello, this is Eileen, the environmental educator, and in this video, we're going to talk about the Gulf Stream, which made some news this summer, and this is October 19th, 2023 article on strange sounds, so they picked it up. The Gulf Stream is very, very important. This right here is maybe the best picture I've ever seen of ocean circulation, and the oceans, like the air, transfer the heat from the tropics up towards the poles, and then the cold from the poles to the tropics. So it helps keeps Earth's average global temperature. But right now, even this headline here, the Gulf Stream is collapsing. Well, they say that it's slowing down. Okay, right here. Okay, of course, The Guardian, they're gonna give you fear as early as 2025. And further down, they say between 2025 and 2095, with the central estimate of 2050. Well, you're talking 70 years from now, 2095. Do people care about that? No. Even 2025? If it hasn't happened yet, they're not going to care. Okay, but this is the propaganda out there. So they're, of course, talking fear. Here's an article. This was May 18th, 2023. What would happen? This doesn't really have that much information about what would happen. It just kind of states a lot of what these other articles state about the Gulf Stream, but right here, this is July 26th. Will the Gulf Stream really collapse by 2025? Let's hope not. It says the end of the system, which drives the Atlantic currents and determines Western Europe's weather, would likely lead to lower temperatures and catastrophic climate impacts. So, yeah, they say, it's far from certain the system will shut down this century. But the most recent assessment by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change concluded that the system, known as the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, the AMOC, I'm just going to call it AMOC, would collapse as quickly as the study suggested. They say, there's been worries that the current is weakening for as long as we've had measurements of it, since 2004. And yeah, it's a complicated set of currents that brings warm water north towards the pole where it cools and sinks. But they say with global warming, fresh water is pouring, from melting ice caps in the north. And so that affects the sinking of the water in the north. Okay. So ocean circulation is driven by what they call the ocean pump. And that is when the warmer water, look at this, all these arrows heading north here. Okay. This is the Gulf Stream coming out of the Gulf here, and it comes up through the North Atlantic and then ends out here over near England and Ireland, which keeps these pretty warm for being this high. Okay, so this stream matters. And so the warmer water goes up, and then once it gets into the pole, the water evaporates, it's saltier, it's denser, so it sinks. And that sinking is called the ocean pump, because then that sinking drives all the water to keep moving. Okay. And then the water goes down to the bottom of the ocean. And then this arrow going down, the blue is the cold water. It goes all the way down, South America, out here, the tip of Africa, where then it resurfaces back up. So it has brought this cold water all over, and then it brings, cold water to the surface here, before the hot conveyor belt starts all over again. And you can see the different currents that go around the world. It's kind of cut off over here, but yeah, they're constantly moving. And the driving factor is the ocean pump, where the water sinks. because then that keeps everything moving. And if this ocean pump shuts off, then the ocean circulation is going to shut down. And that can have very negative consequences. Yep, right here it says beginning in the Caribbean before flowing out into the Atlantic through the Florida Straits, the Gulf Stream brings warmer southerly waters, which are saltier and denser, northward to cool and sink in the North Atlantic. And that sinking drives ocean circulation. But they say, temperatures are changing. And so this doesn't talk about the ocean pump, okay, but I know about the ocean pump. So right here, it says that as Earth's climate warms, an enormous influx of cold, fresh water from melting ice sheets is spilling into the oceans, possibly causing the Gulf Stream to slow or even veer toward outright collapse. But they say due to the scale and complexity of the system, it's hard to prove. But right now, there is analysis that has shown that the current has slowed by 4%. So that may not seem that big, but it kind of is. And as they say here, the worry is that it's just the start. So it could get to be much bigger than 14 and than 4%. So this ocean circulation is very important. We all depend on the climates that we live in. Okay? If the Gulf Stream stops bringing warm water north, the UK is going to get a lot colder. Okay? They're not prepared for that. And it doesn't sound like much. You're like, well, you just keep the heat on longer. But there are so many intricate systems that all interconnect. That's not true, including food production. Okay? And so there's consequences to things. And, the Gulf Stream not performing as it's been might be one of them. Right here, this Guardian article says, other scientists said the assumptions about how a tipping point would play out and uncertainties in the underlying data are too large for a reliable estimate of the timing of the tipping point. But the thing is, in nature, you just kind of never know when the tipping point's going to be and when all of the systems that we depend on get thrown out of whack. Right here, it says a collapse of the Amok would have disastrous consequences around the world, severely disrupting the rains that billions of people depend on for food in India, South America, and West Africa. It would increase storms and drop temperatures in Europe and lead to a rising sea level on the eastern coast of North America. It could also further endanger the Amazon rainforest and ice sheets. Antarctic ice sheets, it says. Okay, and then this professor here says that I think we should be very worried. Okay, so they say that the AMOC, the AMOC, has not been shut off for 12,000 years. Okay, it's been shut off before. It will shut off again, but it can have very, very serious consequences. So the things we do, people, by not living responsibly, if you've been around here before, all we need to do is just live responsibly, gain individual cooperation, not be disposable, get hemp going, but just running amok of things has effects on Earth is its own living entity. Okay, like your body is its own living entity. I mean, it seems like Earth is so massive and big, but it is its own body. Your body has a temperature, 98.6 degrees. Earth's global average temperature when I started, studying Earth, was 57 degrees. They say now it's 59 degrees. That's the global average temperature. Okay, it's gone up 2 degrees. What happens if your body goes up or down 2, 4 degrees? You're pretty sick. 5, 10 degrees? 10 degrees on either side of 98.6? I'm pretty sure you're dead. So we just need to be mindful. We just need to live responsibly, and no one will give you actual real solutions. And right now, they're saying that humans might wake up one day very, very surprised because the Gulf Stream and the ocean circulation just decided to do things differently. So stay tuned, people.